Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to be making some icebox cookies. This is some cookies that you can make the dough and then you can refrigerate them before you slice them, but you can also store them in the fridge or even in the freezer and take them out and slice them up and bake them whenever you want. And one of the methods I'm going to be using today is something I haven't tried before, which is to use the yolk of a hard-boiled egg in the dough. I've been reading up on this, and it apparently inhibits the gluten to some extent, making the resultant cookie that much more sort of soft and melt in the mouth. So for my ingredients, I should say these are going to be lemon flavoured icebox cookies. So for my ingredients, I have 200 grams of plain flour and I have 25 grams of corn flour. Now, if you're in the US, where you can easily get cake and pastry flour, you could just substitute those two for 225 grams of cake and pastry flour. I have 70 grams of icing sugar, confectioner's sugar. I have the yolk of one egg, which we're going to use later, demerara sugar, which we'll use later. I'm going to use half a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. I have about a tablespoon of finely grated lemon zest, my one hard-boiled egg yolk and one other egg yolk, and as well as that I have softening over here, 140 grams of butter. So the first thing I'm going to do is to put the butter into my mixer, and I'm going to beat that just to make sure that it's uniformly soft. My kitchen tends to stay rather cool, and so getting these things soft is sometimes a bit of a problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is to add in the 70 grams of icing sugar, which I have already sieved. And I'm going to beat that, but very slowly to start with, because it will put out a cloud. And I'm going to continue to beat that until the butter and the icing sugar are all incorporated and nice and fluffy. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is just to scrape this bit of butter off there. I'm going to take my egg yolk, my hard-boiled egg yolk, and I'm going to put it into a strainer, and then I'm going to actually push it through the strainer. And I think that's fine. I'm just going to scrape out the inside as well, because it's all mushed up nicely. And then into that I'm going to put our raw egg yolk and half a teaspoon or so of vanilla bean paste, and a tablespoon or so of finely zested lemon rind, finely grated lemon zest, finely zested lemon rind, whatever, and I'm going to mix those all together. Then I'm going to put those into the butter mixture and beat it to get it all incorporated. So we'll beat that to get it incorporated. That's getting incorporated. I'm just going to give it a little scrape. And then I'm going to mix the corn flour in with the baking soda, and I'm going to add in about a quarter of a teaspoon of salt, so there's a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to mix those all together and then I'm just going to put those into the butter mixture and mix those until they're all combined. And then with that batter combined, I'm just going to scrape it down into the bowl. We're going to roll that into sausages, wrap it in plastic wrap and refrigerate it for at least 2 hours. So I've rolled mine out to 40 centimetres, so 8 20 centimetres, that's about 16 inches in length, and it's about 3.5 to 4 centimetres in diameter. And then I'm going to put that in the refrigerator and allow it to chill for at least 2 hours. I'm actually going to leave it until I've had a package delivered, because that's going to help me cut the package. The thing that's coming is going to help me cut these into an equal thickness. And I will be back with you to do that and to finish off once this is completely chilled. Okay, I'm back with you now, and my cookie dough has chilled and my little gadget has arrived. This is the little gadget. It's actually a strudel pastry cutter, or a bear claw pastry cutter, but it has nicely positioned gaps there, so I'm going to use that to mark my roll. So what I'm going to do is just place that on the end and run it down like that, and there I have my measurements. So then the next thing I'm going to do, or I should say, I'm preheating my oven to 160 Celsius, 140 Celsius with a fan, 325 Fahrenheit. And I've got a couple of baking trays which I've put some parchment paper on. It rather depends how many cookies you want to bake. Because this is an icebox cookie, you only need to bake as many as you want for that day, and you can put the others in the fridge or the freezer. But I'm going to bake all of them just to see how it all goes. And I'm taking my egg white that I had from my yolk earlier, and I'm going to just brush that over my dough. And the reason for that is that I want to roll it in some sugar. And that's in the 50 grams of Demerara sugar, so I'm just going to turn that over and brush it some more. You could actually make shorter logs or sausages. You don't need to have one long one like I've got. So I think that's good enough for that. I'm just going to put that up there, and then I'm going to take my 50 grams of Demerara sugar and I'm going to, sprinkle it on the plastic wrap that I used for the log, and then I'm just going to take the log, if I can pick it up okay, and I'm going to roll it in the sugar What I'm going to do is take my knife and I'm going to cut on the lines which I made with the cookie cutter. And I'm then going to take a baking tray and I'm going to put my cookies on the baking tray, leaving space for them to spread. And with my cookies cut, I'm going to put them into the oven and I'm going to bake them for about 15 minutes. They're going to spread, they'll cook, and the underneath will be slightly golden. Then I'll take them out and let them cool, and I'll come back and show you the results. Okay, I'm back with you now, and I've baked our cookies. I actually let them bake for about 16.5 minutes, and as you can see, they're cooked on the underside. So I'm going to taste one. I'll take a small one. I got 36, or in fact I got 37, I think, but I got I've eaten one, so 36. Very good. They are. They almost dissolve in your mouth. Of course, I've got the sugar, the demerara sugar on the outside, so that gives it a little bit of extra crunch in the mouth, and just a little hint of lemon. That tablespoon of lemon zest really gives a nice flavour to it. And as I say, you don't have to bake them all at once. You can cut a few up and bake them and put the rest in the fridge and do them the next day, or put them in the freezer and do them later. Very good indeed. Very Moorish, I think. So that's going to be it for today's recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below the video and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen, as ever, there will be an eye that you can click to get to the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video that will take you to the recipe as well. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, as I say, and if you have, please join me again in a few days when I'll be back with another recipe. So until then, happy baking.